Right guys, so this is what we're going to be making. It's a remake of Odd Mob's track Left to Right. It's been getting absolutely hammered out in the clubs. Here's a snippet of Salou playing it in Manchester. If you want to download this project, you can. It's available for my Patreon. The link for that is below. Great, let's get on with the video. Great, so let's start with the low end. Together, it sounds like this. At the top of the chain, we've got this kick. It's from my Tech House pack. You can get this on my Patreon. It sounds very hefty, but what's making it hefty is this drum bus. With this, I'm distorting it. I'm also distorting the high end a bit more than you normally would and increasing the transients. And there's also this boom. I'm taking out all the frequencies below 30 Hertz and also boosting those between 50 and 100. I've then got this utility and this utility. There could only be one, but I've got both. Who fucking cares? And they're basically making it mono. This is making all of the bass mono. We then have the bass sound itself. So it sounds like this. Very thumpy. The patch is essentially controlled by this envelope. This is fucking around with the coarse pitch, which is given that effect. So you've got to have the decay very low and have it assigned. So drag that up onto that. Same with this. The sub isn't really doing much, but it's there. We then distorting the fuck out of it. So Asium is my favourite one. I've driven that right up, as you can see. The mix on 100%, got a little bit of compression, and that EQ is doing nothing, so you can ignore that. We've then got the notes. So the notes are a bit sort of made up, I'd say. I basically started at C, the root note, and then moved up just till it sounded alright. The pattern of this is how I started, and I just added these other bits in for sort of a percussion-y effect. Similar to the original. Yeah, I've boosted this bit about 300 Hertz just so it punches more and you can hear it through the mix. I've also got a side chain to the kick just so the kick can punch through as well. We've then got, and also, so this bottom one is a square wave. And it's just pitched down 3 octaves, and yeah, it's really basic. It's just got this controlling the amp envelope, so yeah, it fades off. In the original, it starts strong and fades off quite nicely. So the second one is a little bit more complicated. This mini bass, so you can get this on analog. Then got this basic shapes, which has changed a little bit, and the noise. Instead of noise, we've got a kick. We've actually pitched it up a bit and set it to follow the notes of the keyboard. We then are distorting the fuck out of it with the Asium, and that's all turned off. So ignore that. Also boosting the low end a little bit. It's a little bit messy, and so is in the original Odd Mob song. It sounds quite messy in my opinion, but that's what we like. Yeah, cutting out some on the low end, cutting out some on the top end because it's just not needed, or it's not there in the original anyway. We've then got the drums, sound like this, and like this, and the ride comes in. Start with a hat. It's quite a short, snappy hat in the original, so I've got this long hat, and I've just cut it right down. We've then got this audio effects rack, which is distorting it. taking out the low end, making it a bit wider, just making that so it doesn't clip, and then it was a little bit loud after all of that processing, so this limiter is lowering the volume. We've then got this ride, which is just an open hat. Just added hit of percussion, bit of ear candy, doesn't do a whole lot. Then we've got this clap, which actually isn't a clap. In the original, there's no clap, he just uses a snare. The closest I could find was this MJ Cole garage snare, so that's what I've used. Then in the second half of the drop, get this ride, sort of a classic-y acid house ride this. Side chained again to the kick. On the master of the drums, we've got this drum bus, same as up there, distorting it, and just adding a bit of oomph. Also helps glue it all together. So I think somewhere in this is a bit of compression. And then we've got a little bit of this, taking out the low end. And essentially, apart from the vocal, that's it. With the vocal, I chopped this from the original, just one phrase, but then did the delay effect myself. So, to get the delay effect, get your delay, put 1 on either, say, 3/6, 1/3, 1/5, doesn't really matter as long as it's odd numbers. You then got to bring up the feedback and bring up the dry wet. And then you get that effect right before the drop. In the original as well. It goes all distorted, all delayed, all frantic, and then the last bar just before the drop, it goes basically dry again, so the signal is dry. And that's what causes that great effect. I think it makes it way more dramatic. Yeah, it's brilliant. We've also got this auto filter at the beginning. Oh, stop that. At the beginning, just because that's what it does in the original, to help it fade in. Then got this reverb, which is basically working along with the delay, just to put the vocal in a bit of a space. And then in the drop, the side chaining to the kick. I hope you enjoyed that video, and let me know what other videos you want to see down below in the comments. Thank you very much. Bye bye.